Have you been told that your thyroid or hypothyroidism is the reason that you're dealing with fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, dry skin, constipation, bloating, or digestive issues that seem to pile up? Have you started thyroid medication or supplements only to maybe feel a little better but still not like yourself? Or maybe your doctor is telling you that your labs are quote unquote normal, but you're still suspicious that thyroid might have something to do with it, and you want to know how you can support your thyroid safely to boost your energy, digestion, and metabolism? If you said yes to any of these, then this episode is for you. Today, we're continuing the Real Root Cause series, where I've been taking conditions that are commonly labeled as a root cause and breaking down to you what their real root causes are. This is super powerful because understanding a fake versus a real root cause is the difference between healing from your symptoms and not. Today's topic is thyroid health, specifically hypothyroidism. This episode might ruffle some feathers because I'm going to make the case that hypothyroidism itself is not a true root cause. This doesn't mean that your symptoms aren't real, and it definitely doesn't mean that hypothyroidism isn't a true DSM-5 diagnosis. But it does mean that something else is driving why your thyroid hormones aren't working the way they should. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through why thyroid medication alone often doesn't fully resolve symptoms, how you can have, quote, normal labs and still have hypothyroid symptoms, how thyroid hormones are actually made, converted, and used in the body, what this has to do with finding and testing for the real root causes to thyroid imbalance, what gut health has to do with thyroid health, and what needs to be addressed underneath your thyroid for your symptoms to truly improve. If you're ready to understand your thyroid better than you ever have, plus have the tools you need to support your thyroid and whole body health beyond medication, then this episode is for you. Hey friend, welcome to the Better Belly podcast. If you're currently trying endless supplements, doctor visits, and diet changes to heal your mystery symptoms, you are in the right place. We're here to solve the real root causes behind your gut, hormone, skin, sleep, and brain concerns, literally anything and everything in your body. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that has supported over 150 clients just like you to heal problems that no one has been able to fix. You don't need a perfect diet or a random supplement you found on Instagram to heal. You need a proven system that heals your whole body from the inside out. That's what I'm here to share with you, episode by episode. It's time to make health easy again. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. Hey guys, welcome to I think it's going to be our third episode of, I'm moving some of the episodes around, guys. I believe it's going to be our third podcast episode on our Real Root Cause series. Hopefully by now you know that we've been in a root cause series, but maybe if you're new to the podcast or new to listening for the first time in a while, we are in a series where I am debunking and breaking down fake root causes. And today's going to bristle some people's hair because I'm going to describe thyroid, especially hypothyroid, as not a real root cause. I'm going to make an argument for why. You're going to know by the end of it. And actually, this whole process that I'm going to describe today is how theoretically you should be being treated if you're working with someone doing functional medicine for your thyroid. Meaning that you are getting like a more thorough approach to your thyroid, which means looking at things that are not your thyroid. It's not looking at thyroid medication. Now, being on the topic of thyroid medication, I am not saying you will never need thyroid medication again or stop taking it or it's bad for you. I'm not saying any of that, but we can, for example, make your thyroid medication work better. Like you taking the same dose, you have more energy, you have, your skin's less dry, your hair starts growing back thicker, or on a lower dose, you feel good, right? That happens all the time for our clients where on the same dose or they need to lower their dose because they feel so good because of what we do here to really holistically support what's going on. And the best way to describe it, in my opinion, is to call it, it's not a root cause. Yes, you might have low thyroid hormone, but I'm going to show you why that might be and why it's might not be the root cause you think it is. So in root causes, in this series, I want you to think about everything we're doing is like a plant. And I am drawing graphs, like actual designs for this. So if you want to see kind of the picture that I draw at the end of this episode, or maybe at the beginning, just go to betterbellytherapies.com/root and grab this document so that you can see it. Like if you're a visual learner like me, or kind of want to, it'll really come together when you see this. So, because right now podcasts aren't visual, at least we don't have a visual podcast. So at the top, we're talking about root causes, remember it's deriving the concept of a root from a plant. So in a plant, you have the top of the plant, the base of the plant that's close to the dirt, and then the roots. And typically the top is going to be all your symptoms. It's everything you're noticing. And so some of the symptoms we've already mentioned, you might be dealing with brain fog or fatigue, dry skin, weight gain. This is all the top of the plant where everything you're noticing really clearly, and then you go to a doctor or a health practitioner and you say, why am I experiencing these things? And someone might say, because you've got hypothyroidism. Hypothyroid. And they feel all smart because they've told you what your root cause is, and then they tell you what they think you should do about it. And they might, very commonly, they'll give you medication. I'm not saying it's bad to take medication. They might give you medication though, or they might give you a supplement to try and augment the processes of whatever's going on. But you still might not feel good. And the other issue is that even if you don't connect it to your thyroid, you're going to potentially have other symptoms. Like you suddenly develop SIBO. Maybe takes 6 months or a year or 2 years, but you have SIBO. Well, one of the root causes of SIBO is slow motility. And one of the root causes of slow motility is hypothyroidism. One of them. I'm not saying it's the only root cause. I'm not saying if you have SIBO, you have hypothyroidism. Not at all. It's just, if you're trying to think holistically of how do I get my SIBO to go away, you want to look at all the root causes, which I actually get into in other podcast episode. I pulled it up for another episode. Episode 235 is SIBO. So I'm going to put here SIBO is actually one of the symptoms of hypothyroidism and slow motility. So slow motility might be constipation, acid reflux. We're just going deeper and deeper and deeper into this world of all these things that are keeping you from healing, which is just misidentifying what the actual issue is. So for thyroid, if you've been around with the other episodes, I'm going to do this episode a little differently, especially if you're even just looking at the graphs, you'll notice that they look different. For the other ones, I went through and said 1, 2, 3, these are the root causes. But for this, I actually want you guys to understand how the thyroid works and what different hormones your doctor is testing in your blood work. And then it will make it very clear why and when I'm saying that there's a deeper root cause. So step 1, I'll make sure I draw this on the page. Your body makes something called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. It's the most common hormone that's going to be tested for if your doctor is trying to evaluate your thyroid. They might literally test for nothing else on this page. We are not getting into testing theory and how that's deeply insufficient to really understand your thyroid, but it will happen. And TSH gets made by your brain. Your brain, specifically 2 parts of it. The first is going to be your hypothalamus, which is in your limbic system. And then your second one, that's number 1. And then your second one is going to be the pituitary gland. And so your pituitary gland is actually creating TSH. The hypothalamus tells it to make TSH, and then the pituitary gland makes the TSH. So that's all in the brain. That's the first step. And we don't even have thyroid hormone yet. Next step is that message gets to your thyroid gland. It's this little butterfly shaped gland at the base of the front of your neck, kind of above your clavicles. And it makes something called T4. Now, T4 is not activated thyroid hormone. Interestingly enough, what your thyroid makes is kind of like a deactivated version. And this then needs to get made into pushed in T3. T3 is the activated version. It's what can get onto your cells and say, hey, look alive, give yourself glowing skin and growing hair and energy and have a good metabolism so you lose weight and keep weight off and can build muscle, all these lovely things that we want. That is T3. T3 is like, phew. But do you guys know that your thyroid gland doesn't make T3? Do you want to know who makes it? Who converts T4 into T3? These are the ones who matter the most, because what you can see when you look at blood work is sometimes TSH is really high because the brain is shouting at the thyroid gland, make more thyroid hormone. And what it means is make more T3. And then the thyroid gland's like, oh my gosh, he's being so loud. I'm just going to make some more T4 here. But then your brain is like, thyroid, you're doing nothing. There's still not a lot of T3. And it's like, but I'm making all the T4. Well, guess who's not doing their job? Liver. Liver converts 60% of your T4 to T3. So if you have liver congestion issues, which is not a diagnosis, it's a description of toxin overload in the liver, where the liver cannot keep up with its jobs. It has a lot of jobs, including managing your iron, including detoxing estrogen, and including detoxing pathogen juice that gets squirted out by little pathogens. 60% of that, of your T4 gets converted to activated T3 by your liver. So we really want to care about liver, and that is some of the root cause. And the next thing, 20% of it is by your gut. And that's a really bad version of your gut, but we're working with it. 20% is the gut. So you want to have good gut health and you want to have good liver health. These are the most common root causes that are not being addressed by taking medication. And a lot of times if you take medication, the medication's only T4. And so you get stuck in this deactivated thyroid hormone and it's still not getting converted. So big issue there, right? That is not the end of the story though, because for hypothyroidism, or another possibility is that your brain is sending out a signal, TSH, make more thyroid hormone. It gets to the thyroid makes T4. Then maybe you even have T3, like is getting, your liver and gut is converting to T3. You could still have one more issue. Well, two more issues. We're going to talk about them. But you could have another issue, which is called reverse T3. Reverse T3 is your body's protective mechanism that if there's too much amping up of your body's internal systems, it's saying there's just too much going on here. You know, Allison really needs to just be calmer. We need to be in a healing state. She's been really stressed lately, or she's been doing way too much, or whatever it is. Your reverse T3 kicks in, and it is cued by your adrenal glands. So your adrenal glands are on top of your kidneys. Here's your kidneys. They're like little crowns on your kidneys. They're very teeny. And they say, deactivate that T3 again. And it's normal to have some reverse T3 in your body, but you don't want to have, from a functional medicine standpoint, you want to have less than 15 is the number you're looking at. So if it's above 15, your body is excessively trying to pull you back and slow you down. And so how do you solve this? The solution to it, or the reason why it happens, is stress. And I want to be very clear. I want you guys to think about a triangle right now in your head. Stress has 3 different versions. We have the one that most people think of, which is psychological. And a lot of times people will say, well, yeah, Allison, I have been really stressed. And yes, you might have really been stressed this year or lately or the past 10 years, but that doesn't necessarily mean your adrenal glands are going to start reversing your T3. The other option is going to be physical. So think running a marathon, sleep deprivation, giving birth, things that stress your body, having a surgery done, things where your body is car accidents, falling off a horse, falling out of a tree, near-death experiences, physically stressful to your body. And so your body will convert T3 and reverse T3. It's wild to me when I look at these thyroid panels that somebody gets and their T3 is low and there's no reverse T3 on the test. I have no idea how much is getting turned into reverse T3. If you simply just keep giving yourself more T3 and your body is converting it into reverse T3, you're not going to feel better being given any T3 or working on your T4 converting to T3. You need to stop the process of your body reversing T3. And so you want to evaluate yourself for psychological support. But not only that, I find that that's the main way that people get evaluated and they get stuck there. Then physical, which that could be, sleeping more. It could be decreasing your body's pain. It could be just time to rest after giving birth. But really what I see is driving it so much is biochemical stress. And biochemical, this is where we really get into everything we deal with in the Better Belly Blueprint. And I don't say biochemical is where it's at just so that you all have to join the Better Belly Blueprint. It's because that's where it is at. That's where we're missing it as a society, that we have a much more of a grid for like get physical therapy if you have a physical injury, or get mental, do like box breathing or somatic exercises, or get counseling if you're having psychological issues. But biochemical, we are massively under-resourced and we just don't understand the mechanisms very well. So biochemical can be digestive issues like low stomach acid, which we talked about, I think it's going to be 3 episodes ago now. It can be pathogens like H. pylori or mold or parasites. And I'd say usually it's not one, it's multiple. That's key. If you're still sick after doing a pathogen protocol, it's because you have more in you, not of the same kind, not more parasites that you need to do another parasite protocol for, a different one that it's not on your radar and you don't know which one it is. Could be C. diff, which is why we want to do testing thorough. That's not done by hospitals because their testing misses a lot of stuff, unfortunately. So biochemical stressors can be food sensitivities that you're eating and it's creating inflammation, and then your body's like, oh, we're really sick because you're eating, it could be corn, it could be rice, it could be gluten, it could be dairy, it could be apples. Not all of these need to even be permanent, but right now your body's currently reacting to them. And then digestive issues, pathogen, food sensitivities, nutrient deficiencies, huge, especially when you're thinking about breastfeeding moms. Us moms have it hard. Breastfeeding, giving birth, nutrient deficiencies are just so high. And then we're looking at the last one is poor detox. So just a liver that's burdened, which we kind of already said that because the liver is a part of the root causes for T3, having poor conversion. But all of these things right here, all of these stressors that are in the biochemical area, have to do with the gut and the liver. So interestingly enough, if you simply deal with the biochemical stressors, the potential biochemical stressors, meaning you test for them to identify if that's actually what you're dealing with, and then you treat them in a proper order that really gets rid of them, and you look at all of the potential ones, not just what you think you have or what you want to have, because it seems easier that way. Meaning I get people who don't want to test for mold because they're like, I don't have mold. I'm like, the more you deny it, the more likely you have it. It's really rough. It doesn't mean you do have it if you're denying it. It's just something I'm seeing right now. But if you simply look for all these biochemical stressors, which is what we do in the Better Belly Blueprint, then you're going to address your conversion issue because your liver is going to get healthier. You're going to address your reverse T3. The only thing here we haven't talked about yet is something called TBG, thyroid binding globulin. So thyroid, and these, by the way, these are all root causes. I mean, they all kind of connect. Thyroid binding globulin is something that can bind your thyroid so that it can't get onto a cell. It's like bound up. It's not free. It's not able to be like, oh, I'm going to go get on a cell. It's bound. It's a pretty good description of it, actually. TBG, thyroid binding globulin. And this marker there's more TBG around when you have higher estrogen levels. So high estrogen, I don't know why it's not drawing. What happened? Oh, maybe it froze. Let's try this. I'm going to go out and then I'm going to come back in. Oh, it doesn't want to go out either. Okay, there we go. Okay. More estrogen. Did my pen die? That might have actually happened. I will write it in a second. But higher estrogen levels increases TBG. And so if you have, first off, it could be that birth control, I know that's like a messy thing. I'm not saying you have to go off birth control, but it is massively increasing what we call xenoestrogens, external estrogens coming in. We also, in the realm of xenoestrogens, you want to be thinking about anything that has perfumes and chemical scents. So hand soap, shampoos, detergents for your clothes, softener for your clothes. Those are huge issues. Candles that have, chemical scents. So it's not made of essential oils. If it's not essential oils, it can cause issues. And at least in the realm of like xenoestrogens. And so lotions that have perfumes and chemical scents to it. And so, literal perfumes like colognes and perfumes that you might spray it right on your skin. Those are all made out of things that chemically look similar to estrogen. And so those are called xenoestrogens. They get in your body. Your body's like, wow, we have a lot of estrogen today. It can make you have high estrogen symptoms like really painful PMS, endometriosis issues, anger, irritability, really painful periods. But it can then also bind up your thyroid hormone. So I don't often test for this because usually you're not going to test for thyroid binding. I mean, you can test for thyroid binding globulin. I usually just look at the context of, you could do something like called a Dutch test and look at your hormones. And if you have really high estrogen, might be one of your issues. But the thing is estrogen comes down when you both decrease any xenoestrogens and increase your liver's capacity to detox, because your liver is your main organ that gets rid of excess estrogen. Even if we're just talking about your own estrogen, if you're like, there's no, if we could really create a scenario where there was no xenoestrogens being intaken by you, you can still have just too much estrogen piling up because your liver's not getting rid of whatever you're naturally making. So again, just go back and support the liver. You don't have to get really fancy with this last one and TBG. You can understand its mechanism and how it's possible that all this is going on. But so yeah, TBG is from high estrogen. And so the testing you're going to want to look at doing is potentially the Dutch test, but I consider it the weakest of the functional tests, and I just don't like people focusing their money on it. I do talk about it in episode, I thought I pulled it up here, but let me just go grab it. So Dutch test, Dutch. I give it a really spicy title. Stop wasting money on the Dutch test, which is funny because I do have clients do it. I just am very clear in that episode what circumstances that should be in. So it's episode 283. So you could do a Dutch test for your hormones, not the best use of money. I would focus on the GI map and the OAT test for pathogens. That would push out juice. That would really stress your adrenal glands, so that you might be producing too much reverse T3. But yeah, look for all those pathogens that could be stressing your body biochemically. With the GI map and the OAT. The GI map also can look at a little bit of your digestive health, same with the OAT, though through different lenses. And then do a Zoomer test for food sensitivities. an HTMA test for nutrient deficiencies. And I don't really do a test for the liver. I just do a liver protocol. I have my clients do liver protocols as a part of the healing process. And so when you do your protocols in the right order, after having the information, you will know which of these and to what extent you're dealing with different ones. Because of all these issues here, some people might have H. pylori and mold, but another person has C. diff and a parasite. And there's so many combinations of issues. I don't know what you're dealing with, but I know if you do these tests and you look at this kind of big lens of what's going on, you will figure out what you are uniquely dealing with, and then you'll feel so much better. So, oat, HTMA, Zoomer. And this is literally the bundle of labs we do in the Better Belly Blueprint, day in, day out. And we teach you how to know which ones you uniquely should be ordering, how to analyze what you may already currently have or not. And then all we do is we put together our vitality protocols, pathogen protocols, and then our follow-up protocols, which is usually things like stomach acid and copper. Which we didn't get into copper today. Copper can also be a root cause of estrogen being too high, but we are going to get into estrogen later. So I know I gave you a very just talked a little bit about estrogen, but we're going to talk a lot more about estrogen. I don't know if it's next week or in 2 weeks, but in February, we have an episode on high estrogen and an episode on low estrogen as fake root causes. Because how did they get high or low? They just didn't decide it one day. Other things are driving them. That's what you deal with when you want to get rid of it. So that's the end of today's episode. I hope you guys love it. I hope that helps you understand how a really holistic approach to how happy and healthy thyroid is. And even if you don't have thyroid lab work, or even if your doctor says they don't think you're indicated for it or won't order it for you, even if you've never seen your thyroid markers, you can still do things like support your liver and look for all these biochemical stressors, and it will help your thyroid, even if you can't see the before and after, though it is always fun to see that data. But you don't have to see it for it to improve. You don't have to see it for you to believe it. So that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next Thursday.
Hey friend, I hope you loved this episode. If you've been a fan for a while or newly loving this podcast, can you do me a favor? Drop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. When you leave a review, you do so much. You help me know you're listening. You can tell me what you're loving so I know what to make more of. And you help others by boosting this podcast so other people like you can find the podcast too. I mean, it's a win-win-win, right? So if you want a way to pay it forward, just go to Apple Podcasts or click the link in my show notes and leave a rating and review. And if you want some more free stuff, just head over to my free Facebook group, betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook, and you can get access to all of my free support for you, including some Facebook group exclusive stuff like my podcast episode vault, where you can search the Better Belly podcast by topic and find exactly what you need to expedite your healing. I cannot wait to see you in there. Catch you guys next week.